What the worst I don't fit in here experience you've ever had? Wanted to learn to play guitar. Found out about a class for beginner sessions for adults. Call up. They say yeah, come along, we have a mixed group and we will see you in the morn. Great. Turn up to this little church, like building, and head in. Guy says back quote, you must be me, 27 to 28 at time. Take a seat and we will get going in a minimum. Please note I'm first to arrive, and the seats were tiny, but I didn't think anything of it at the time, just assumed it was what was available. Next minimum a group of small children rush in and take their places, about 5 to 6 years old, with their guitars. Teacher starts taking the lesson. I'm OBV feeling awkward as I'm like Tom Hanks in Big, and wanting to get out as soon as boss, but too polite to just get up and walk out. Teacher then announces that we will be getting up on stage at the end to show back quote, what we've learned. Please note all these little shits are 10x better than me, but I'm committed now and maybe it won't be so bad. Until the door opens and all of the parents walk in to watch the back quote show. So there I was, sitting on a little chair with my knees higher than my head, strumming along to some tune I couldn't play, surrounded by 5 to 6 year old and parents looking at me with that face you know wants to laugh. Edit. Wow. Just woke up to a ton of notifications. Only this week have I received my first silver and now I have more golds and silvers. Many thanks. So I read all of your comments and had a good laugh along the way through listening to your stories. A few answers for you guys. Mixed group. No idea how this went from mixed to a group of 5 to 6 year olds, but I didn't want to say anything at the end as a kid/parents were still there. I just wanted to get out of there as quickly possible. Did I carry on with that group? No way. With guitar? Kind of, but not really. I can play a couple of easy bits now but didn't really stick it through, so it was all for nothing anyway. The story, yeah, it was really embarrassing at the time. The look of one particular parent is ingrained into my soul, like a mixture of trying to hold laugh in / you fucked up / I can't wait to tell my mates about this. It's never failed to give people a laugh when I've told them about it, and I'm glad it has made you guys a smile / lol. I'm in my late 20s and going to the same clothing stores I've been going to for over a decade, seeing 12+ year old girls, feeling lost, not knowing where to shop. Went on the company ski trip, which sounds posher than it actually is, and we have to pay for it out of our wages. Had to sit on a dinner table with the heads of the company and some other high up people from different companies, and the stuff they were talking about in terms of leisure activities were well out of my league. When you try to join the conversation and you get a patronizing smile from one of them who doesn't engage you, conversation has a strange effect on you. Finished my dinner and fucked off to the bar. I once interviewed for a job and was taken around the office to meet everyone and see how things worked. But it was one of those types of places where they do morning cheers. Everyone is ultra peppy and cutthroat. It was a sales job with competitive territories, and the energy was just too much. As an introverted, laid back and uncompetitive worker, I 100% did not belong in that environment. A friend invited me to a party at his friend's place. Everyone was dressed in animal masks, not as in furries. This was like black tie formal, but with people wearing realistic giraffe masks. My friend seemed confused that I was dressed normally. I do not speak to him anymore. I still don't know what the deal with that place was. I watched a lot of Pokemon when I was like 8. I went to a local anime convention, and I was so confused and awkward. Everyone was in cosplay and talking about anime, and I just sat there looking at my Pokemon cards all depressed. I just dropped everything to pursue a career in art. It's been my dream to open up a shop and to just make things and paint. I've been drawing all of my life, and I'm honestly not bad. A few weeks ago, I joined a local artists collective. The first meeting we were showing our art, and my heart dropped. Everyone had these gallery level social justice pieces, and there I was with my greeting card and wedding art. I've always struggled with confidence and imposter syndrome, but that hit me hard just how out of my league this group was. I'm staying in it because I think it will challenge me to expand and grow, but damn do I feel incompetent every time I see them. My first holiday in foster care was Christmas 2010. I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school. I missed my family and I didn't know anyone there except my foster parents. I felt completely like an alien amongst 50 people. I was young, scared, and alone. I went on my phone and my foster mom raised her voice and told me to get off. That made me snap and I started tearing up, so I went outside in the cold to cry by myself so I wouldn't make a scene. I cried behind a car in the dark and the snow that fell a few days prior. This old man comes outside and calmly talks to me. He tells me that he used to be in foster care too. I don't remember what he said exactly, but he made me laugh and feel a little better. That old man turned out to be who I would call Grandpa Ernie a few years down the road. He passed away a couple springs ago. He always made sure everyone felt welcomed and always would break tension/silence with a joke that made everyone laugh. He went through his own hell growing up and he did his best to make sure no one else had to. I'm a college professor. Got my first job out of grad school. Quit at the end of the second year. Found out while quitting that they were about to fire me. It was one of the 10 largest universities in the USA. Today I teach at a tiny liberal arts college. Been there over a decade, and they vote me Professor of the Year an average of once every 3 years. Here I fit. There I didn't. There was big, research driven, prestige hungry. Here, they want me to take good care of the students. That I can do. I love my job. In 2007 I went to what I thought was my first AA meeting. It was being held at a church, and when I walked into where the meeting was supposed to take place there was 5 to 6 other men sitting down. I took a seat, and after a couple of moments pass, the meeting starts. If my memory is correct, I was asked to introduce myself. So I said, my name is asterisk 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 asterisk, and I'm an alcoholic. After a few moments, one of the men let me know that I was at a Sex Addicts Anonymous meeting. I apologized and left. Felt really weird about it at the time, but now I just laugh about it. I'm expat Dutch, meaning I was born there and have a passport. Moving to the Netherlands as a teenager for the first time did not go well. Teenagers are assholes. But even more so if you are any kind of foreign and don't speak the language perfectly. In southwestern Australia, I was there working for a bit and went out with some locals. We were walking home from the bar when one of them said he wanted to go for a bit of a longer walk. So we detoured around another block. Suddenly we were walking through the bush and then we pop out the other side near this sketchy house. A really sketchy dude comes out, looks at me and asks one of the guys who I am. They say I'm Canadian and he asks me a few questions, presumably to hear my accent. Then they hand him a few $100 and he hands them a few small bags of drugs. On the way home, the guys I'm with stop, open up one of the bags and smash the contents up on a rock and snort it. I politely decline. Suddenly everyone I'm with is high on meth. Once I was familiar with the area we were in I got the fuck out of there. I came to Germany in 2017 with my Master of Science in Environmental Sciences from Hungary. A job to find was hard, so I had a plan B. I took a job by Deutsche Bahn, German Railways. I don't really know how to say it in English, but basically I control train stations and set routes for trains. Called Fahrdienstleiter in Germany, look it up if you want to. So I took the schooling. I had my first station, and as an apprentice or something like that I had to go to the tracks and inform people about where their train comes. I felt pretty shitty. It's normally not part of the job. All the passengers were well-suited men and women. Lots of offices around here, and I was in a dirty safety west. I just felt that I belonged to them, not here. In the end I found myself here. My next job will be at the central station in Nuremberg, which is a pretty big deal. Like a flight control tower with trains. I fucking love trains. Edit. Thanks for the kind comments. Recently moved to China due to work. China is fine and all. Food is exceptionally nice. And the general cost of living is significantly lower. Although I do speak some Mandarin and am somewhat familiar with China due to my mother being Chinese, I do often feel the differences. Like how alien this culture here is to me. It's a very odd feeling. Seeing all these people that look the same as me, yet completely different. I'm a white guy who's into alt rock, and I had some Jamaican friends at work. They invited me to a basement party they called a splash. Exactly like what you see in the Scene Paul Get Busy video. I loved it and everyone was very cool, but man did I feel like I stuck out. I was at a low point in my life. Unemployed, no support, hungry and dressed in worn working class clothing. I was out with a buddy who had as little class as I did at the time. We somehow had managed to find a few dollars and figured we should go have a drink. Unfortunately, the place we went to was full of sailors. Not burly longshoremen. Not popey and not shifty-eyed cutthroats. No. These were the kind of sailors that owned and raced yachts. We go in, walk out to the patio and stop. Everyone there was white. Everyone there was dressed in white. The entire patio went quiet, and literally everyone stared at us. We immediately turned tail and left. I think we ended up sharing a bottle of cheap wine under a bridge that day. Funny thing is, I bet we had much more fun under that bridge than we would have had surrounded by all those clean young snarticles. The ball at my college the week before graduation. People have compared it to college prom. I never wanted to go, but I won a free ticket in a raffle, so I couldn't pass up saving $90. Doesn't mean I fit in there though. Work mostly. I hate my job because of the toxic environment and coworkers. And in large groups of people where I don't know anybody. My mum and dad have been divorced since I was 8 years old. So 20 years. My dad has a girlfriend who he's recently moved in with. She has adult children and young grandchildren. Anyway, it was my dad's birthday a little while ago. And I went over to see him, and over the time I was there, more of his girlfriend's family turned up. I didn't fit in. My dad has kept us very separate until the last 12 months. And I've worked really hard on my relationship with my dad over the last few years. But had thought he wasn't able to give me the relationship I wanted to have with him. And I'd come to terms that is how he is. Except it's not how he is. At all. Because he has that relationship with his partner's children and grandkids. And I sat there feeling ridiculously out of place. I didn't fit in. He only lives 25 minutes away. But they've all made very little effort with me. But they all see each other a lot. I didn't fit in. And I left after 4 hours. Driving back to my home with tears in my eyes. Wondering why I was so upset. And then I realized. It's because, once again, it's just another situation where I don't fit in. And I'm not gonna lie, that little 8-year-old girl inside of me cried a lot for a week or so. It was by far the worst I don't fit in here experience I've had yet. It broke my heart a little. Actually, sorry for rambling. I guess I kinda kept that to myself. After work party with my colleagues. We were just eating some snacks before heading home. But I realized I had nothing in common with any of them. I never wished so hard to have said no to something I was invited. Took me 2 years of working at a place to realize just how faced and toxic most of my former co-workers were, except for a handful. Realized most of them didn't like me, so I left. I went to an alternative school, everyone was goth, and I was just a normal kid that was playing sports and stuff, and wearing colorful clothes with kids in all black. My first time out drinking, after I turned legal age, I ended up in the smoke pit of the strip club talking about Jesus. I have mild autism and I decided to try doing an autism meetup with other autistic people. Everyone else was way more severe than me. It was fun and an interesting perspective, but it wasn't my kind of place. I've always felt like I fit in two very different crowds. I'm very at home with a group of redneck friends out camping and hunting for the weekend. And I can fit in at formal business dinner type settings. One time I was invited to what I thought was the latter by my employer. I'm very middle class, but I was completely out of my element. It was a silent charity auction for disabled children. They had various donated items up for auction. You could add your name to a list with your bid, and someone else could add a higher bid under that. The cheapest thing they had to bid on was a Barbie doll. It was $375. I didn't bid on anything. Later that evening I was talking to a co-worker who was a friend of the owner. He told me he won a horse. Yeah. Didn't fit in. Going to back to school night. I'm a single dad and not wealthy. Well, not financially. My kids go to a school in a very affluent neighborhood. The dad to mom ratio was roughly 3/10. They all had very expensive clothes and jewelry. Here I'm in my shorts and a t-shirt. Most of the cars were Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, any were Tesla, Maserati, or some other exotic. Luckily my kids don't seem to feel it, nor are they mistreated, so that's good. My now ex-wife and I are car people, so to speak. One year we decided to go to the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance and check out all of the awesome stuff. Life had been good to us lately, so we sprang for the super VIP tickets. That included VIP parking. As I was being directed to the parking areas in a dirt field, I was getting a little annoyed, having paid $750 apiece to park my Audi S5 in the dirt. Yeah. That feeling went away the second I was directed to park next to a Ferrari 458, which was next to another Ferrari, next to an SLS AMG, next to a McLaren, next to an etc. I had easily the cheapest car in the lot. Okay, fine. Walk over to the VIP brunch tent because goddammit, I'm gonna get every dime of value I can out of these tickets. Did you ever see the MIG? That was me and my wife around all these super rich people. I felt so out of place there, and it was pretty clear we didn't belong. Totally shunned by most of the staff. We got a little shitty on the free mimosas, ate our body weight in bacon, then went to the actual car stuff. I guarantee white trash was used to refer to us at least one point, though in any other setting we probably wouldn't have stood out at all. The rest of the event was pretty cool, but the VIP stuff felt so uncomfortable.